Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be going over the Open Scoreboard editor. And to do this, we're going to be creating a scoreboard from the recent WTT, which is the World Table Tennis Teams Tournament. So that actually looks like this here on our screen. And so to understand how the editor kind of works, because it is drag and drop, it's very powerful. You can make very nice scoreboards with very nice functionality. But there are some things that it can get complicated. So that's what we're going to try and go over today. And we're going to try and build this exact scoreboard, whereas at least get as close as possible to this scoreboard. And at first, we got to kind of look at the layout and what's available to us in the editor. So if we start looking at this, um, I can see a couple different things here. We're going to have a box right here for game point. We're going to have a box right here for uh, the normal scoring area, and then we have another area that's down here for the team names. So the way we need to look at it is in terms of rows and columns. So we have these things called containers, and they are going to be in the containers drop down here. And so we have row or column. And so while we're looking at this scoreboard here, we can see that for the most part, it looks like everything is going this way, uh, which is going to be more of a row. Um, but then we also have things that go, up and down right here, and that's going to be more of a column. So let's go ahead and start getting this scoreboard crafted out. So what we'll do inside, we're going to drag and drop a row container and then just kind of bring it out here. All right, so we dragged our row container out here. And so if we go back to our drawing of our scoreboard, and let's get rid of all the markings so far. Um, we do have this graphic here on the left. We're going to leave that out, but it does look like we have some flags, or at least something that identifies the team. And we have an image URL that we can assign to teams. So what we can do is we can essentially make the team logo their flag, because that's what this pretty much is. It looks like we have another place where we would have a column for the names. We have another column for the service icon. It seems like they have some space here that is probably reserved for timeouts and other icons. We can also leave that there, or we can do that. We have a timeout uh, ability, so we can have that space as well. And then we have our match score, and then we have the current score of the game. And so this is kind of what it's going to look like. We're going to leave this image. We are going to have our team URLs here, our names. We're going to have our scorekeeping tracker, our timeout tracker, match score, and game score. All right, so let's go ahead and start doing that. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to drag in our first column container. And what we're also going to do, we're going to drag two additional column containers in here. Okay, there we go. So now I have two column containers under my regular column container. I'm going to add some padding to this so that our team logo doesn't exactly take up the entire space here. So if we go into, I believe, dimension, we can add some padding. So I'm just going to do uh, maybe 10 pixels all around. I'm going to do that for the other one as well. So the left-hand side has kind of all of our drag and droppable icons. The right side has topography or typography, a bunch of other like styling sort of things that we can tamper with to make our scoreboards look exactly how we want it to be. Okay, so the padding has been added for both of these, and now I need to add my team image. And so we're going to go under Teams, and we have the Team A logo URL. And so we're just going to make Team A on the top here. And I'm going to actually get rid of this width, or maybe I'll change it to 100% here. So it'll fill the entire width. And then let's go ahead and put in the Team B logo. We'll make that width 100% for that too. Okay, and the next thing we need to do is we'll select our container that contains both of these, and we're going to make our background white. So if we go here on the bottom right, we'll expand this. We can select a solid color here. Right now it says none, so we're going to change that to white. All right, and then we can, I think with that there, we can move on to the next one, which is going to be our player names. And so we have a drop down for that here too. So we'll go to player names. But first we want to move our column container inside here. So we'll add that. And then we will use combined player A here. Combined player B here. We're just going to have that snap in. And then what I'm going to do is the container that we have has a fixed width of 60 pixels. We're going to X that out. And so now it's going to be as long, it's going to take up as much space as the amount of text. And because we have a column container set up like this, the entire column container width is going to expand. So our top row and our bottom row are going to be the same width. So our scoreboard won't be, I guess, uneven. Okay, and so I'm going to add a little padding on the right side. Let's add 10 pixels on the right, and we'll add 10 pixels on the left, just so it looks a little bit more natural. If there's no spacing, sometimes things look a little tight. And then what else do we need here? We need to change the background color to white as well. We'll go down to color. And we'll go to white. So that's looking good. And then let's go ahead and add a column container. And this one is going to be for the service icon. So let me move this. Let me move the scoreboard here real quick. All right, so we have our column container, and we need our service icons here. So we have service icons, and these are actually kind of like blank fields, but they show and they will appear and disappear depending on whether or not it meets the criteria. So in this case, if it's server A will appear, and same thing for player B. So we have two of these things here. Um, I don't exactly have an icon right now. Maybe I can, you know what we'll do? We'll just add some text and make it a little star for now. But if you can get, this could be, anything can be in here. It could be an image, it could be text, it could be a Unicode text sort of thing. So we're just going to make it a star for right now. And let's see if there's anything we can do to make this centered. But you know what? Let's change the typography a little bit. So they have it kind of as like a red color. So we'll change it to a red. And of course, we can get an arrow that looks like that, so it'll actually be legitimate. Um, we'll just have to get that a little bit later. Change that, and I'll make it bold. Okay, and I'm going to highlight both of them. We're going to, there we go. We can make it like that. Okay, so we can do that for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the width. So it's just going to be whatever the width of this text field kind of is. That'll be the width that it takes up in our scoreboard. And since I have the correct column container selected, I will change that background to white as well. Okay, and then we need another column container here. And like I said earlier, this is going to be for timeouts. And so we're going to add, this is the same sort of thing where it's kind of like a conditional thing where we're going to have is a timeout active. So during timeouts, it'll show something. Let's see, what can we do? I don't know, let's just do maybe another star, but we'll make it a blue star. Okay, so we'll go over to our topography, make it blue. Size is going to be 36. This is going to be our symbol for they're taking a timeout. They're actively taking a timeout. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this background white as well. That looks good. And we need to get rid of the width that has been assigned. So it'll just conform to whatever the size of the text is. Okay, all right, so we have those icons now. Now it's time for the match score. So we're going to add another column container. And we're going to go to not match, but current game. So we're going to do a match score and B match score. And we need to change the font here. make it, well, I guess the font is already white, so we don't have to make that change. But we do need to change the column container background. And so this time we're going to do almost the same thing, but we are going to use a gradient. So they use a blue, kind of an indigo, and then it conforms into I guess a red. There we go, we'll do that. And there we are. So we just changed the direction of the gradient, so that would be down, going down or towards the bottom. And that's what we end up with. Okay, and that looks good. So let's go ahead and add our game scores. It's going to be under the same area, current game. So drag current game in. Okay, it seems like the text is already blue. And we could also make it bold. Nope, it's just normal. Maybe we can make it light a little bit. There we go. Okay, and we can go back to the container and go back down to our background, add that white background. Okay. All right, so looks like we have everything for the main scoreboard portion. What we need to do now is focus on, let's say we need to focus on the France versus China score. So what we can do there is we're going to select our top parent row container, and then normally what I will do is I'll go to Flex and Justify Content. I'm going to hit space between. And so this kind of splits everything apart here. So it just makes it a little bit easier to snap things in. So let's go back and look at our scoreboard. Um, I'd say that it lines up exactly with where the image starts. Same thing with the game point. Um, so we are going to add it, I guess, as our very first. We're going to add another column container. Or in this case, we could probably start with a row container. Let's do a row container. We're going to drag that on here. And we're going to put it right here just so that we can get it onto the scoreboard snapped in. And then I'm going to move it so now it's on the very far left side. And when we're looking at our scoreboard, it's basically the team name, the team score, and then dash team score, and then team B name. So we're going to go down to our teams, and we're going to add that. And then I'm going to go to team A. And I guess I can just get them all in here, and we can readjust the order later. So what we can do is inside of our column container, we'll just make sure that they're all in the proper place here. Now it looks like they have that same kind of gradient as the background color. So for this, let's make our background a gradient again. And kind of have that red. Excuse me, they have a blue first. And then we have that red. going in the down direction. Okay, so we'll go with that. And then I do need to add some text in between here. And we're just going to add a dash. That's what they need. All right, so now we're going to start trying to look at how we can get these things a little bit closer to each other. The text always has padding. We can remove the padding. Everything else is not too bad. Might be a little spaced out, but we can try and maybe make it a fixed size so it's a little bit more together. And so now we're kind of doing the trick where, if you can see that our row container here is moving everything else off to the side. We don't want it to move off to the side. We want our teams to be down below. But now the reason why we put it here is because we're going to do kind of a little magic, I guess, not really magic. Down here, there's a thing called transform, and we're going to click on this, and we're going to do translate Y. We're going to select that, and then we're going to put in 50 to start, but we're going to keep increasing this value until we can get it kind of right on the spot where it's perfectly aligned with the bottom of the scoreboard. Okay, so I think that's possibly close enough. I am going to remove the width on this guy. I'll keep the height the same. And then we're going to do one more thing on this row container. We're going to be going to our position here under general. We're going to click absolute. All right, and so now you just saw everything shift over. So now we're going to have our team names positioned directly below our scoreboard, which is what we were wanting. And we actually want to do the same thing for game point, except we're going to be going in the opposite direction. So for game point and match point, we do have components for those as well. It's going to be game/match point graphic. So let's make another row container in here. Put it in here. We're going to go with custom game point and custom match point. And so we're going to also make these kind of absolute. You know what? I think I remember what we need to do here. So we're going to go ahead and add another column container here. And we are going to make this relative. And then we're going to take our match point, or is match point, and then we're going to put it into our column container, and same thing with the is game point. Okay. And so we'll make this with 100%. And then we're going to make is game point and is match point position of absolute. So it's going to stay in this position here. And I guess the main thing that we want to do is, I don't know what match point looks like, but the is game point will be red. So let's go ahead and we're going to make the background for is game point red. And we can do the same thing for is match point too. Alrighty. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add some text as well. Need to make sure that our font is white. Okay, there we go. And we're going to add another one. I'm going to move it into its game point. Change our color on the font here. And we're going to do game point. Okay. All right, and so for this one, we're going to have to do, let's say, 200 pixels. Way too much. So let's try 120. That's too little. I'm trying to find just the right amount. Okay, so it seems like match point and game point seem to be fine with that. Looks like we could remove the padding from match point and we can justify content in the center for our is match point container. Same thing with our is game container. So game point is going to be in the center. Okay, and all right, so we'll make this smaller, smaller, smaller. Okay, all right, so now that we got that done, let's go ahead and drag it to be one of the first spots. We're going to go to transform again, change it to translate Y, and we're going to actually do a negative value here, negative 80. Okay, and then we're going to bring it in a little bit. Okay, so we're at negative 77 pixels. And the last thing to do is change it to absolute. Okay, so that's looking good. We're going to go back to our top level row container and change that back to flex start for the justify content. Actually, we can just get rid of it. And so now everything should clip over. I'm going to expand our row container just in case someone has a really long name. And so now that we have that, we can go ahead and test this out. So let's go ahead and pop over to, let's go ahead and save that. Let's pop over to our app. And so we can go to team match. And this is just a test match that I made between Team Sweden and Taipei that also happened at the World Championships. I don't have the appropriate flags, but we'll show what's going on, what our flag looks like here. I'm just going to change the background color real quick. And so that is what our scoreboard is going to look like. And let's just quickly do some scoring to get it to game point. And there we go. So now it shows. All right. All right. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments down below.